know it's tough to process a loss so quickly, but what are your initial thoughts on this one?
Just have to be better defensively. Wasn't good enough defensively, and then just we're trying to be too cute with it tonight. A lot of perimeter playing that was on, not getting a lot of shots to the net. So we started to figure it out in the third a little bit, but we just gotta figure that out quicker.
What's the key to that for you guys? You know, being able to identify that a little bit quicker and get the page turned on.
I think it's just getting guys to the net. For us, especially as D, I think it's more just D1 shooting rather than passing a D&D. If we get guys at the net, we got to reward them. And I think tonight, like I said, it was just a lot of perimeter play, not generating a lot of high opportunity scoring chances. So, yeah.
Avs fall 5-2. The 5-game win streak is snapped on the second leg of a back-to-back against the Chicago Blackhawks. Not a great team, but while they lose the game, yeah, it was because of the power play and the power play outage, Cale Makar. You lose the game, that's fine. You may have lost Ross Colton, and we'll get into that and so much more tonight. Thank you to our own Darren McKee for the video from inside the locker room with Cale Makar and the Avs. Again, a 5-2 loss with 2 empty net goals at home against the Chicago Blackhawks. A wild sports equinox tonight as we welcome you into Between the Pipes here on Altitude Sports Radio. We are live on Twitch, on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, and YouTube as well. You guys can join in the chat room. We will showcase all of your comments as best as we possibly can, get to all of your questions before the night is out. We are presented by our friends at Safeway. Make sure you guys go and get your immunization, certainly before the weather starts to get cold and the kids are back on fall break. Flu is going absolutely crazy this year is what I'm being told. So get in there and get a flu shot with our friends at Safeway. Spring, just a little bit of a power outage, and it just felt like one of those. I don't want to say it was a scheduled loss because Chicago's not a good hockey club, but I had just had that feeling tonight.
Well, credit to Chicago. They were really solid. They're a young team, but they didn't give the Avs much. They played well for what they are coming into this building against the star level players that they were going against. I thought they did a good job of staying sound and playing fast. They didn't get a lot of, great opportunities, but they capitalized on having a 2-goal lead, and they didn't give the Avs a lot of space, and the space was tighter when you take a Ross Colton away. That's so hard to now be down him as well. I think if he's out there, they find a way to get the tying goal. And no goal, save for empty net goals, is scored after Nathan MacKinnon scores late in the first period to make this 3-2 on a nice little I'll do it myself effort from Nate on the power play. That's it. You would have thought for sure that the Avs would get an equalizer. They gave themselves some looks. Georgiev made some saves in the second period, a couple that I think he previously, the way he was going, would have let in, but he doesn't allow a goal in the last 2 periods. It was there for them. I just think there was a lack of offensive depth. And again, credit to Chicago. They, I see what they're building. I like a Lucas Reichel. He scores in a weird way tonight, but that dude was everywhere. He was hunting. It's an added, young player that they drafted to go alongside Connor Bedard. That's a scrappy effort from that team tonight. I tip my cap, and they beat an undermanned and even more undermanned Avs team.
Yeah, listen, I'm not raising any alarm bells at this game. I thought outside of the 2 goals at the end of the first period, obviously the bouncer that hits a body and goes through Georgiev's 5-hole, he was fine for the rest of the game. Like, he made big time saves when you needed him to, certainly at the end of the second period when you needed to stay within 1 there. It's the loss tonight's not on Alexander Georgiev. He was fine. He was probably good enough to win this game. I just thought, as you said, it may have been a little bit too much to overcome when you lose. It's funny, like, they had to lose Ross Colton, right? Like, and I'm not wishing injuries on anyone, but what I'm saying is, well, the guy who's outperforming any pace he's ever had in his career, you had to lose that guy, right? Like, you had to lose the guy that sits in the middle of your power play and would have been playing top minutes. certainly at the end of the game, instead of like Nikolai Kovalenko up there with Rantanen and McKinnon at the end of the game. And Kovalenko he was fine, but like you saw, like he certainly doesn't pack the same punch as Ross Colton did. But that's just the luck that the Avs have had this year, is that like every one of the guys that matter, and whether they matter when the team is completely healthy or they matter more and more with all of those injuries piling up, it just happens like the arrow hits the wrong guy every freaking time.
Well, he narrowly avoids a hand injury, wrist injury. He takes a slash on the hand a couple games ago, but returns and plays against Ottawa. It's like, the injury gods were just like, oh no, we're getting you. We're getting you. You got away from that slash. We thought maybe you were going to miss a game or two at least with that. Nope, you played. Oh, no, we're going to get you. Here, you're going to block a shot right in the foot, and it's just bad luck. It's terrible luck. He's in a walking boot, was Ross Colton. Ross Colton was in a walking boot leaving the arena. Jared Bednar saying he's going to miss some time. It's got to be a broken foot.
Yeah. But without a doubt, I mean, that's the instep of the foot. There is hardly any protection there whatsoever unless you're wearing a skate blocker or a shot blocker, rather. And most, if not all, forwards in the league do not utilize those things. There's really not even a lot of D-men that still use those shot blockers anymore. That looks like a broken foot. And it sucks. Like that's just the way that this is going for the Avalanche. And when one guy's going great, like we're talking about Ross Colton possibly scoring 30 goals this year, and that's now not going to happen. Like it just simply won't. It's a shame that he goes out. You were building momentum going into that the end of that third period. You had sustained pressure in this game. And you said it, Chicago didn't give you much space. Like, when the hell did Taylor Hall become like the best forechecker in the National Hockey League? Like, honestly, I never saw that when he was with Edmonton or the New Jersey Devils ever.
You got to reinvent yourself in his 30s now, trying to stay in the league, playing on a second, third line minutes, whatever it is. You got to be scrappier. You got to reinvent yourself. Let's look at the 3 Georgiev goals tonight. The first one, the power play goal from Kurashev, it beats the glove of Georgiev. It was a bomb. It was an absolute blast from, the middle area of the offensive zone. Do you put that on Georgiev? I mean, the glove has been his weak spot. Eustace has a better glove than Georgiev. You see goaltenders snag those things. It's easier said than done. That was a bomb from Philip Kurashev, who had a good game tonight. He shout out to Georgiev. He made a big save on Kurashev, who got a mini breakout in the second period. Again, the type of little breakout tweener that has been beating Georgiev. He saves that. He saved a turnover centering feed to Ryan Donato. He got it going. I thought he deserved a better fate tonight. What about the Reichel goal? Raj is off of a faceoff win. That thing bounces off of everybody. That's a weird goal. Credit to Reichel for winning the faceoff and immediately getting in front of net, but that puck was plinkoed.
I can't put him. I really can't put him on that. Unfortunately, it hits a couple of bodies and it like magic pucks. I suppose like I would hope that his 5-hole is tighter there. Like stick your pads together, because honestly, like that shot could be coming on the ice 5-hole. Like, and he has gotten beat in that situation multiple times. So I do think I put that one, despite the plinko nature of the shot, I put it on Georgie. I just do. The other ones, I don't. I thought he played great tonight. And I thought in a game in which the Avs were, for me, clearly the second best team on the ice out of the two, Georgiev kept him in it. And he gave him a chance to get a point, man. He did. And until that Ross Colton injury happened, and until Miles Wood decides to put his head down and try and drive the crease, like I get it. It's a good hard play, but you also got to know what this league, what it calls. Like anytime that you put your head down and you run into a netminder, you are going to the box. That will not be a penalty on the opposition. It will be on you for goaltender interference. I love Miles Wood and the way he plays, but like in that situation, you're buzzing. It's 4 minutes to go. I don't think you can put your head down and drive the net there. You can't, because it kills the momentum. And then you finally get the kill, and now you only have 2 minutes to go, right? And guys are playing out of position at that point, and I thought the game was pretty much over then.
Yeah, and then and look, interference on the goaltender was called the other way. Tyler Bertuzzi got nabbed for it in the first period, so it was called evenly on both sides. It was what it was. Miles Wood, I like the aggressiveness. He gets a good feed and he sees an opportunity, but maybe just a little too amped up in that moment. But officiating overall tonight, I don't think this is where the game was decided. Don't get me wrong. But a few missed trips. McKinnon in the first period wasn't called. And then the big one, I think, was the Nick Foligno trip on Cale Makar when they were on one of their 2 power plays in the second period. Should have been a 5-on-3. Now, the Avs had a 5-on-3 earlier in the game and late in the first period and couldn't capitalize. That's taboo right there. Deserve the second 5-on-3. I think I've noticed this season. The officials, they're going to almost have like a set number of how many times they want to put the Avs on the power play, how many times they want to put the Avs on a 5-on-3. I don't love it because part of the benefit of being a fast skating team is, you should get rewarded with those calls. I don't know if the refs just didn't want to give the Avs a second 5-on-3, but a blatant miss. Huh?
It may have been that where especially in the third period, and obviously this is a different situation than I'm talking about. It felt like the referees were swallowing their whistles and kind of making a point like, we've given you the opportunities and you haven't done a damn thing other than Nathan McKinnon just being better than everyone else on a 5-on-3. Like, and honestly, guys, sometimes that happens in this sport. Sometimes that happens in the National Hockey League where you get ample opportunities and the referees go, how many do you want us to give you? You want us to give you 8, 9, 10 power plays so that you can finally score a goal? Like, that's the one thing that I can't get on board with people complaining about missed calls constantly is you have to give the referees a reason to make the call. The game is not played in a vacuum. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not a binary thing where like a trip is a trip because it is in a video game. It's not the same way. They make calls based off of momentum. They make calls based off of what you've done and what you haven't done in a game.
And also, this might be a little weird thing of mine, but 1 power play goal for Chicago, 2 even strength goals. The Avs had a power play goal from McKinnon, the even strength goal from Casey Middlestat. Holy crap, Casey Middlestat is amazing. I mean, he is who he is. He's great, but you need more than 3. You need more than McKinnon, Rantanen, and Middlestat. That's really all they got tonight. They needed an even strength goal. Chicago potted 2 even strength goals. You needed a second even strength goal. Yep. I'm a hockey god believer in that way. You got to match them. You couldn't have gone. It didn't. It was not meant to be 2 power play goals to 1 even strength to 2 even to 1 power play. You got to score even strength. This was a dip game. Like Kovalenko was good. He wasn't as good as he was last night. Ivan wasn't as he had his moments, but he wasn't as solid as he's looked in the past couple games. And that's going to happen, especially on the second night of a back-to-back. You're playing a lot of hockey. It's racing. Yeah. It's 2 straight nights, and there was some deer in headlights from Kovalenko, Ivan, so some of those players tonight.
Yeah. I see all of you guys in the comments, asking about where I'm doing my show. First of all, shut the hell up. They told us we were doing this version of Between the Pipes like 2 days before the season started. So I'm sorry that I haven't been able to fashion a home studio, but we'll get there. And also people want to know where I got my bacon neck collar. I pulled this out of my closet about 45 seconds ago, and I didn't realize that it now has to go in the trash. So that's what I'm working with right now, Spring.
Everyone's you're so picky. Avs lose and this is wrong. That is wrong. Come on.
It's funny, man. Halfway through the game when Colorado was down 3-1 and the Nuggets were getting beat by 12 or 13 in Toronto and the World Series game was worthless and I couldn't watch the Monday Night Football game. I just went out there to the sports gods and I was like, I don't care how it happens. Just I can't have a Toronto and Chicago sweep tonight. I can't have it. And you know what? And Connor McGay, he's going to be pissed at me for saying this. And he already is pissed at me for saying this. If the Avs 5-game win streak had to snap on the second leg of a back-to-back to get the Nuggets a desperately needed win when they look terrible, you know what? I'll take that trade and hope for the best on Wednesday on a couple of nights of rest.
It's the ebbs and flows of these two teams. They're not winning on the same night. Saw that mentioned in the Twitch. And, Nuggets were on the verge of starting 0-3 and then teetering on 0-4, just like the Avs. It's October. Good to see the Nuggets get off the schneid. I'll make the trade every day. Man, I really do think, Raj, if Ross Colton doesn't get hurt in this game, they win. But they're just snake bitten right now. The injury, that is insane. Everyone they're without now.
What do they have to do? What on earth does this team have to do to stay healthy? And again, I'm not saying that I wish injury on anyone else. But that shot couldn't have been blocked by Ivan or Joel Kiviranta. No, it had to be blocked by the dude who's second in the league in goals. The third liner who is scoring as much as Nikita Kucherov is. It had to be that guy. That guy. What happened? What malice is happening behind the scenes right now? What voodoo dolls are being poked every which way and torn to shreds that the Avs have to find and destroy? I don't know what this is.
And another thing tonight too, man, I anytime the Avs face Peter Mrazek, he's one of those Avs killers, one of those random, solid goaltender, had some promise years ago. In his career against Colorado, he's had several starts. He's 5-4-2 in 12 games. This is coming into tonight, so this is not including tonight. He was 5-4-2, so now he's 6-4-2. Coming into tonight, a .922 save percentage, 248 goals against. He had Mrazek was good tonight. He was tough to beat. I thought he looked just a tick better on his end than Georgiev did overall. He was just very tough to move and beat. I'll never forget. In 2019, when he was on the Hurricanes, he came into Ball Arena and saved all 38 shots against him. Pitched a shutout on 38 shots. He got another win against the Avs in 2023, 35 saves on 37 shots against. That was a .946. He is one of those, some players, you see it, killers, random mid-level guys in league to league. Mrazek is that to the Avs. It's just, I don't know what it is, but they can't score on that guy.
Yeah, and he's just a run-of-the-mill goaltender. That he's not a world beater. Just sometimes guys perform better against other teams. Sticking with goaltending, you go back to Onanen on Wednesday night?
Yes, but now I fear, without Ross Colton, who would have been playing his former Tampa Bay Lightning, and Tampa coming off of a nice win, almost blew it against Stamkos and the Preds tonight, but they got it done in overtime. And Tampa's, 6-3 and whatever. They're off to a solid start. They're relatively healthy. I worry now more without Colton what it's going to look like in front of Onanen, and if he's going to be under more siege than he has been in his first handful starts this season.
I mean, he's going to be peppered. Tampa's not the same team that they were a handful of years ago. I don't think they're the same type of I certainly do not think that there's the same type of contender in the Eastern Conference, but you have to go back to the guy that has been playing best for you to give yourself the best chance. If you look at these lines, you're now going to have to bring up someone, are you going to have to bring up Jean-Luc Foudy to come play for you right now? I think that's what's going to happen, right? Because now now your top line becomes McKinnon, Rantanen, Kovalenko. Your second line becomes Middlestat, O'Connor, and I think I would put Miles Wood up there just to give them like a little bit bigger of a body. Your third line is now Parker Kelly, Joel Kiviranta, and Ivan. And then your fourth line is Chris Wagner, Matt Steinberg, and an Eagles player to be called up later. Like it's not a good lineup. That's a losing lineup. There's three legit top six players in the lineup right now. Middlestat, McKinnon, and Rantanen, and everybody else is a bottom six player. Everyone else.
No, you're right. It's not the same Lightning team. Obviously,
Stamkos.
Stamkos.
No, Lecky back. What are you talking about? Lecky's back. What are you talking about? He's not. He's not back.
No, he's not. I mean, we're approaching, the window where he could return to practice, late October, early November. But I haven't seen any updates. I don't think Lekkonen's coming back this week.
He's not coming back this week. He hasn't even had his second opinion or his second meeting
Sure.
with the.
What about Drouin? When's Drouin due back?
Lekkonen took his red jersey off because he literally, and this is from the coach's mouth, he didn't want to wear the red jersey anymore. He's not playing on Wednesday. It's not happening. I do not expect him to play Wednesday at all.
You'd love to get it. I mean, what's Drouin's status? Because you'd love, okay, Colton goes out. Can you get somebody back? You'll see that from time to time. All right, someone got hurt, but good news, this player's coming back. There's not even anybody coming back. I don't know what Drouin's status is. Felt like it was going to be maybe a few games, and now it's extended, and I haven't seen an update. But yeah, Tampa, they're not the same team that they were. Stamkos with Nashville, Sergachev, we saw him with the Utah Hockey Club. Top line right now is Point, Kucherov, Jake Gensel. I mean, that's an interesting plug and play on the top line right there. Jake Gensel, yikes. That's a good addition. Sorelli, Hagel, and we got another Geeky in the league. Connor Geeky, 20 years old. I'm assuming he's the brother of Morgan Geeky, Raj?
That is correct. Morgan Geeky.
Who's now on the Bruins. The league is full of Geekies now. He must be a decent. He's 20 years old, and he's playing on a second line with Sorelli and Hagel. Nick Paul is like the next Ross Colton. I like this. He reminds me of Ross Colton. And he's on the third line with Mikey Isamont, who that's a solid third line right there. Atkinson, Glendening, Gergensen. That's a deeper that is a deeper group of forwards than what the Avs are going to throw out on Wednesday night.
Without a doubt. Like it is. You should not be favorites in that game. And the Avs, I'm sure, because they're at home, will somehow they'll be favorites in that game. And they shouldn't be at all. Like you should be heavy home dogs in that game if Ross Colton is, and again, Jared Bednar said it, out for some time.
Is this the steal one game? Reminds me of when Boston came to town. What was that, the fourth of the 0-4 start? That game was there to steal if they play a little better. Can Onanen just show out and have a 30-plus save performance, allowing 2 or fewer goals, and the Avs can just play tight, responsible hockey, get the right breaks at the right time and come out with a 3-2 win. I think if the Avs win on Wednesday, Justus going to have the game of his career. As Alex Ryan-Emmy has disappeared.
Am I back?
There he is.
My computer was about to die on me. I was trying to find my charger.
I made sure to plug mine in before I started because I was like, I could absolutely see this computer dying and me leaving Raj out to dry. We don't have commercial breaks anymore, Raj.
You know what's happened the past couple of shows on Sundays? We've now had 2 Sunday shows this year. We have an automatic IT reset because I use my work computer to do this. We have an automatic IT reset that happens between like 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. on Sunday into Monday. And it has happened like I'm waiting for my computer to just shut off in the middle of one of these broadcasts one of these days, man. Listen, I do want to hear from Jared Bednar. I'm downloading his post-game presser right now. I'll have that for you guys momentarily. He said exactly what I expected a head coach to say in this situation, which was very clearly, we were tired. We didn't have the jump. We fell short of expectation in terms of our first 10 games of the year. We were expecting to be above 500. Honestly, man, those are lofty expectations for a head coach to look at his roster that he currently has right now and go, yeah, I want you to be north of 500.
Well, it was actually very feasible. They're 4-5. Win tonight, you're 5-4. Get one of the wins. So it reminded me a little of the Columbus game, one of the second game of the season, and Chicago's a similar team to that. It reminded me a little bit of that. Yeah, I think this team could be over 500, but you're right there. You did a great job of, getting the 4 straight after losing the 4 straight. And it would be too good. If I'm telling you, if Ross Colton didn't get hurt and they won this game tonight, and they ripped off even more wins in a row than the 4 they already got, because they're going to be such a juggernaut if and when I can't even say for sure when everyone's healthy, but if and when everyone's healthy, they're going to be such a juggernaut that if they kind of brushed off the man minutes missed to start this season, and we're like 6-2 or 6-3 right now, is what it would be, 6-3. When everyone got back, they'd finish this season freaking 120 or with 120 points. Like they would just destroy this season. I'm telling you, that's how good they're going to be. So they're going to have to face this adversity early in the season. And it's meant to be tough for them right now. Ross Colton getting hurt, that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be tough. As Darren McKee joins us from Ball Arena. Hey, D-Mac, how you doing, man?
Bored. That sucks.
It was a boring hockey game. That's the damn truth.
They lost gas after the first period. They couldn't collect on any power plays. They're just not in – these guys just aren't in great NHL hockey shape right now, and they just didn't have the legs. Bednar said as much afterwards. I don't know, man. Just a boring game. What can I tell you? I don't know what you guys thought of it. I'm just tuning in, but I'm happy to tell you how the mood was afterwards.
Yeah, let me know how the mood was in the locker room, because as we heard Nathan MacKinnon say 2 games ago, like, we just can't stay healthy. And of course, like, it's not Matt Steinberg that takes a puck to the foot tonight. It's the dude who's scoring at a higher clip than he ever has in his career. Like, of course it's Ross Colton.
Yeah, that was a bit of a bummer afterwards too, because Bedsy was like, we'll find out tomorrow, like, how long he's going to be out for. Like, oh, okay. So, but it's hockey. You never know. He could be back on Wednesday. But we didn't know Drouin was hurt, and he's been out. I mean, when's he coming back? So it's just kind of one of these weird deals where you really, like, knock on penalty glass that, it's not that bad. But who knows? Don't know. Georgie was interesting tonight. I don't know how you guys thought he did. Bedsy said he did okay. Got an interesting reception when he was introduced, fellas. There's, it's a supportive crowd. It's a partisan Avs crowd, but there were some boos mixed in there. And I guess I just got to give it to these fan bases from, I guess all these cities must suck to live in because they all live here in Colorado, I guess. But they root for their stupid home teams. But it was loud, man. I don't know if you could tell on TV, but yeah, man, dude, there are a lot of Blackhawks fans here.
No, you could tell the first Blackhawks goal, especially, there was a huge roar. And, it reminds you that it's Chicago, even though the Blackhawks are down. And I'm sure they're all excited about Connor Bedard. Got to get out to Ball Arena tonight, drive the streets of the city that I love and that I live in to go see Connor Bedard play. Forget Nathan MacKinnon, forget Cale Makar.
Right.
But isn't this tonight, D-Mac, just one of those moments, especially with hockey. You block a shot, you're Ross Colton, it breaks your foot, is what it appears. Like, you can't really break it down. You wish you could come up with stats and explanations, and really it's just, damn, they're getting hurt. It's fluky stuff, and you just have to accept it and live with it, and this is the world we live in.
Yeah, by the way, Colton was wrapped up in a boot after the game, FYI.
Love that.
So that was spotted. But sometimes a boot can be really precautionary. I'll never forget last year when Mark Mosier was hobbled with some old man disease, and he comes into the Avalanche locker room and he requests a boot. Like, Mosier got a boot coming into the Avs locker room. I was like, holy cow, the prince of broadcasting has arrived.
For a case of the gout.
Yeah, exactly, man. Ease up on the chocolates and meat there, Moj. Put down the Carl's Jr. for crying out loud and the Hershey bar. But Colton was in a boot and broken foot. Wow, do you guys think it was a broken foot? I mean, was that the vibe?
I
Really?
mean, it's the instep of that boot, man. There's not a lot of protection there. It hits him right on that ball between like your big toe and where the arch of your foot goes. I've seen plenty of broken feet, or at least fractured toe bones there. It's not great.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Well, you know better than I watching on TV from that. And
Who knows, man? But it just hits him in a bad spot.
Jared Bednar said tonight that Ross Colton will miss some time.
Right.
That's not day to day. That's
Right.
not, we'll see how he is in the morning. Anytime I hear some time, I'm like, oh boy.
Well, that was Drouin. That was the same thing with him.
Sure.
Same exact thing. It was like, oh, he's out. I didn't know that. And like, but he, I was here yesterday morning and he was skating with the red sweater on. He looks actually all right. Lehkonen looks good to go. I actually don't even know what's holding up Lehkonen. So I think he'll be back sooner than later. And of course, Val will be Val. We'll see on that. But, next couple weeks, right? Something like that.
Val is he is at the very
November 15th.
minimum. Yeah, like 17 days away.
Okay. By the way, they have the day off tomorrow. And Bedsy did talk about how they break things down in 10 games. They want 12 points in 10 games. That's how they look at the season. So they are meeting tomorrow to figure out Kakkonen. They are. So that's there will be a decision on Kakkonen made tomorrow.
Oh. Well, they're not sending Justus Onanen down, I'll tell you that for free. So are they going to, like, what that tells me is because they have given Justus Onanen this many starts, and I anticipate Justus gets the start on Wednesday night, is that they would send Georgiev down to the American League and expose him to waivers, which means a team could pick him up and take his contract off of your hands if they wanted to. I don't know if a team would for $3.75 million.
Who would? Yeah. Well, listen. I'm not saying they're doing it. He said they're going to talk about it. So there's not like that's going to be a topic of conversation tomorrow. So they're about to have the same conversation you're laying out right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough that's a conversation that requires a couple of whiskeys. That's a long one. All right, D-Mac, we appreciate you, brother.
All right, guys.
It's been a long day for you. Go home.
Yeah, I wish it was more interesting. Great win by the Nuggets. That was cool.
I sold my soul tonight. I was like, listen, if the Avs lose tonight and the Nuggets win, I'm okay with it.
That's all right. The Yankees lost. That's good. And Russell Wilson, man, we should have held on to him.
Shut up.
Die.
Second of what you just said.
All right, boys. I'll see you later.
Bye, buddy. Oh, Spring. Again, thanks to Darren McKee, D-Mac, for getting this video from the locker rooms every night.
Okay. Alexander Georgiev. Like, it was better tonight.
Yes.
But a couple things. One, I felt this way a little bit. I mean, it felt like the skating wise in front of him and Georgiev's movements in net, and he was better. but it felt like the first stretch of Georgiev starts. Like watching the way the Avs moved in front of him is the presence like of which human it is impacting the Avalanche, because they do seem to move better in front of Onanen. And I know second night of a back-to-back, but it's early in the season and it was Ottawa, Chicago, and it was a home and home. So the skating shouldn't have been as down, and it was okay. I thought it was good, but it was down from last night. I thought it was better last night against Ottawa. And just Georgiev himself with his movements, like, yes, he made a couple of solid, good saves that and maybe part of the reason I feel like they're solid, good saves is I'm just on edge every time the puck is near the guy. And the way he moves, it just feels like everything can go in on him right now.
It happens, man. And I said it when that first goal went in, Spring. Like, you can't make this shit up. Like, the goals that haven't been going in on Justus Onanen are the ones that, like, it bounces off three dudes and then it finds the 4.5-inch hole in the middle of his pads. Like, it's just sometimes that's just the way she goes with certain guys. I completely agree that the team plays better in front of Onanen. I think Onanen at this point is a slightly better goaltender in terms of his overall skill, but it's not night and day. Certainly not night. If it was night and day, then like we wouldn't be having this conversation. It would be Justus's net. I still think it should be. But yeah, that's a real thing. Like, confidence in your netminder, just because, like, I don't know, maybe it can breed bad luck. That's what's happening.
It just felt so much more hold your breath tonight than the attack that we've seen in the Onanen starts.
But he did play well. Georgiev played well enough to win the hockey game tonight.
He did. He deserved a better fate. He did. If he, I would imagine that it is unlikely that they would, because they're not going to carry three goalies, right? You would have to send Georgiev down. I can't imagine they would do that. I would be shocked if they sent Onanen down. I would be absolutely shocked. They would have to really be down on him to decide that Kaapo Kähkönen gives them a better feel as the backup goalie. Because I think, coming out of tonight, did Georgiev earn his starting job back? No, he did not.
No, he made me feel better about him than I did prior to tonight's game, but not by much, because one of those crazy goals went in. And that's just not happening when he doesn't play. 3.7, like, it wouldn't ruin the season if someone picks him up off waivers. So, like, why not try? Throw darts at the board. And if Kaapo Kähkönen can be a solid backup, and you like the 1A, 1B with Onanen and Kähkönen, and you love what you see out of Ilya Nabokov, what he's creating in Russia right now, then why not do it? Like, if you need to exercise that demon, exercise it. Like, there isn't, like, Andrei Vasilevsky isn't just waiting there. It's not like he got Marc-Andre Fleury. Remember when Marc-Andre Fleury was struggling mightily with the Penguins in the playoffs? And like, he couldn't stop a beach ball after a couple of years of being damn near dominant and almost beating the Detroit Red Wings, and then making the crazy, like, diving chest save on Nicholas Lidstrom. A few years after that, he struggled, but like, Pittsburgh wasn't going to send him to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. They were going to hang on to him because someone would have claimed him off waivers, and it was, God forbid, Hall of Fame version of Marc-Andre Fleury shows up again. And what happens? They bring Matt Murray in. Matt Murray plays great, and then Fleury has to come back in, and they tandem each other to back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. And then they make the dumbass decision of exposing him to Vegas, and he has a renaissance of his career on the Strip. Like, that ain't happening with Alexander Georgiev. There's not a Hall of Fame goaltender in those pads wearing number 40 right now. There just isn't.
Well, there is a solid goaltender in there, and what's Georgiev, 28-ish years old? It's, he could regain his a better version of his form. But no, he's not. He doesn't have a Hall of Fame pedigree to fall back on. Would another team claim him off of waivers? He's only $3.5 million. There's teams in that need goaltending help across the league. I could see a team claiming him, given the cheap contract number and that it's expiring deal, that you're not like locked to it for multiple years. I think he would get snatched up.
He's the best. He would be the best goaltending option on, like, it's not a free agent market, but on the free agent market.
Yeah. I mean, Kakkonen got snatched up, and on paper, Georgiev is a better goaltender. Look, I said that I thought he deserved a better fate tonight. Well, look, he didn't forgive. He allowed 3 goals. They were all in the first period.
Team 5 Giebed.
Yes, overall. He only gets 2 goals of support. And unfortunately, with Georgiev, you got to give him more than 2 goals of support. He needed a third. But, overall, just allows the 3 goals and pitches a shutout for his time on the ice in the second and the third period. And he makes, a couple key saves that were good. But when you've been struggling and you need to, and you're looking, he got the win in the Anaheim game in overtime. That was his one win this year. And the Ducks scored on him with the empty net and sent it to overtime. He gets a little lucky to win that game. He needs to have a game where he outright earns the win, where he shuts down, where he makes the glove save on Kurashev, even though it's a freaking rocket from close quarters. You make that save. You make a true game-changing, get-out-of-your-seat save. You can't rely on a very good team in front of you to, bail you out offensively, and you play just good enough. You need to have a night where you go take that thing. And while I thought he was better and okay tonight, he did not go take that thing.
Completely. I can't say it any better, Spring. Cannot say it any better whatsoever. You want to go through the rest of the NHL scoreboard before we get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it. Fun night in the NHL.
Super fun night in the league. Blackhawks obviously get the win over the Avs 5-2 tonight, but most of the league went the way we expected the league to go to this evening. The Golden Knights at home cool off the Red Hot Flames 5-0. Calgary only musters 16 shots on goal there, but they get 2 goals from Keegan Colasar. Alexander Pietrangelo scores a goal this evening. Early on the first period, that's all that they needed. Vegas stays hot. Utah had a 4-1 lead. In terms of games that did not go the way we expected it to, Utah had a 4-1 lead in this game. The San Jose Sharks come back and put 45 shots on net on the road in Utah and win the game 5-4. And I believe, am I correct? That's the first win of the season?
That is their first win of the season. That's the game of the night right there. That's the game of the night. You're in Salt Lake City watching your shiny new object, your shiny new toy. You're up 4-1 against the worst team in the league. And then bada bing, bada boom, you're going home. And you get to watch the Utah Jazz tomorrow night coming off of a loss. I love it. That's a great comeback win for the San Jose Sharks as Utah hockey fans learn how this league can get you. The 1-7-2 Sharks. I love it.
The Maple Leafs get a 6-4 victory on the road against the Jets, another team that was red hot. They hand the Jets their first loss of the season. They get 2 goals from John Tavares. I saw this circulating on Twitter. Dating back to 2021, when there was a video released of Mark Scheifele handing out the hard hat for the Winnipeg Jets after a win against the Maple Leafs back in 2021. It was an F-16 fighter pilot helmet. He said, "Nothing feels better than beating the Leafs." And since that moment, the Winnipeg Jets have lost their last 7 games against Toronto, including tonight.
And this ends, Sharks get their first win Jets earned their first loss overall, regulation or overtime. They were 8-0-0. So the dam breaks eventually. Something's got to give eventually. And Winnipeg, they're good. That's out kicking their coverage to me a little bit. In Toronto, they're talented. They're a team when you look at the schedule, you say, okay, that could be their first loss, and it was tonight.
2 games we expected to go this way. I did bet on the Preds and the money line because I thought it was a good line with Steven Stamkos going to the road at his former place where he was the captain for well over a decade in Tampa Bay. The Lightning get a 3-2 win in overtime thanks to Nick Paul's 3rd goal of the season. We did have a bet hit, though, Spring. Over 0.5 point for Steven Stamkos was a lock. He had 2 primary assists tonight.
Yeah, the Lightning were up 2-0, and then Nashville came back and tied it at 2, and Stamkos assists on both of those goals, both in the second period, but not enough as the home team got the win in overtime. But Nashville will take the road point against an Eastern Conference team.
2 other games that we haven't gotten to. One game went the way we expected it to. The Panthers hammer the Sabres 5-2 on Alexander Barkov's return to the action. Barkov scores his first of the season in the 5-2 victory. Not much to talk about there. But what happened in Columbus tonight was huge. The Blue Jackets got out to a 5-0 lead, extended it to 6-1. That's the final for the Blue Jackets over the Edmonton Oilers. But the loss, much like it isn't the biggest story for the Avalanche tonight in losing Ross Colton, the Edmonton Oilers lost Connor McDavid. And he's flying back to Edmonton and will not be with the team when they play Nashville in Nashville on Thursday.
Look, first off, shout out to Columbus. I mean, they win this game going away. They're 4-3-1. They have a win over the Avs this season. They have a 6-2 win over the Maple Leafs at home as well. Their other win was over the Sabres. It makes that Avs loss. Hey, look, Columbus, feisty, young team, but, it was going to be so tough for Edmonton to get back to the Cup Finals. It's just so tough to do. The leagues are so deep right now. The parity is real. It just feels like to make back-to-back finals is so tough to do. And look, we'll see how long Connor is out. They overcame a slow start last season, but it does start to feel like things are piling up against them. And yeah, I wouldn't bet on them to win the West. I wouldn't have done it to start the season, and it's not looking good right now.
7 games tomorrow. Let's get into some bet the pipes here. Flyers at the Bruins, Kraken at the Canadiens, the Senators host the Blues, the Capitals host the Rangers on ESPN, the Wild visit the 3-6-1 Penguins, the Ducks are on the road at plus 200 on the money line as big road dogs at what do they call that new place on the island where the Islanders play?
USB Arena.
Yes, that's it. And then the Kings and Sharks are the late game tomorrow night. I have one line that I love. Give me the Canadiens at home plus 125 on the money line. I just love the feeling. I think Sam Montembeault is set up for a really big game there. And considering Seattle doesn't really have high firepower, I like them to win a lower scoring game, like a 3-1 or a 4-2 that stays under the 6.5 goal mark.
No, I really like that pick. I absolutely looked at that one in Montreal, and Seattle's coming off 3 straight losses, and now they start a 5-game road trip. They're going to go up to Canada. They're going to play Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa. Then they're going to go to Boston. Then they're going to finish in Colorado on Election Tuesday. The Seattle Kraken are in for one coming up, and I think that's right off the bat. Montreal is. They're a fun young team, and I think they're tougher in their building. We saw Seattle, we saw the Avs play them. They're a good team, but I think Montreal is just a little younger and more exciting. Like that pick, Raj. I am going to go though with the Minnesota Wild minus 130 at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Marc-Andre Fleury already confirmed to start against his former team. I think he gets the win in Pittsburgh. So give me Minnesota. And man, my bet the pipes pick tonight. I had the Avs. And I had Carolina. Carolina just beat Vancouver in overtime.
That was the final game of the night. 4-3 is the final for Carolina over the Vancouver Canucks. They get an overtime winner from, who is that? Sebastian Aho, his third of the season, 46 seconds into the overtime frame. Spring, I'm sorry. You and I both
Bye-bye.
go.
You hate it when you got to say bye-bye to picks that you would have gotten. Bye-bye. Oh,
yeah,
my God.
I did that with Nathan McKinnon last night. That was terrifying. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Avs lose 5-2. Game or win streak is snapped. We will be back on Wednesday night, right, for Avs and Tampa Bay Lightning. And then we're doing a live show on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5 because we have a watch party coming up this weekend, Spring, on, I want to say Saturday. Is that the next time the Avs play, Saturday?
I don't know. I live 1 or 2 days at a time. After Tampa, I can't tell you what they do.
Let me pull
let's
this
see
up
here.
on
Saturday. They're in Nashville. Yes, Saturday they're in Nashville.
Saturday in Nashville, we have a live broadcast at Rhine House in Denver. So we'll be watching the game with you guys. Come out, have a beer with us. We'll be drinking beers with you guys the entire evening, and we'll do a live show with you guys as well. So if you have nothing to do on Saturday, come watch some college football, come watch some hockey with us down at Rhine House with all of our friends down there. Myself, Mark Springer, Mark Bertinoli, we will all be down there. So show up, right? If you got nothing to do, show up and watch a Central Division collision between the Avs and the Preds.
Man, they were division rival jerseys tonight. I love those sweaters. I think they're very clean. They're not like flashy. I think they got a vintage look to them, to being with also a little bit of a modern touch. And is that the first division game of the season for the Avs?
Second division game, they beat Utah.
Utah. Yes. All right. Well, that was on the road though. So 0-1 in the division rival jerseys. That's a shame. I like those things.
You're getting into the meat of the schedule right now. We're going to get out of here. We'll talk to you guys on Wednesday evening. 7 p.m. is when that puck drops. 6:30 p.m. pregame show on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. And Spring and I will be back here on X, on YouTube, and on Twitch starting around 10. Thanks to our friends at Safeway. Everyone who joined in the chat room. Care Bear, I'm sorry I yelled at you about Lecky. I hope he's back on Wednesday. I just don't think it's going to happen that quickly. But Storchio, Corin, Kevin's been in there, Eli, Mel Gerard, Fishing for Cards, Simulator Addict, all of you guys. Sorry if I didn't get to anyone else there. We didn't show your comments. Continue joining in there. I promise you guys will get on screen at one point, or we'll get a shout out sooner rather than later. But for Spring, I'm Raj. We'll see you guys on Wednesday evening for Avs and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Pray for Ross Colton.